Good morning. Look how cute you all are. Thank you for being out here this morning. If you have been here other Decembers into Januaries, you will know that this extravaganza of laryngitis is just what I do. So you need not worry about me. I'm well armed with cough drops and tea and water. So I will, when I'm in motion, have my mask on. But just wanted to let you know, this is just what happens. So welcome. I am very happy to be sharing the worship space today with my friend and partner in ministry, Angela Warren. She is our Director of Faith Development. And just a reminder that masks need to be worn when you're in the building unless you're up here. And you'll notice that we also have air filtration in place. We've got the ceiling fans going, and we've got these fabulous Dyson fans at either end of the chapel. So the whole room is cycling new air like every 3 minutes or something. So we are doing everything in our power to make sure that you are as safe as you can be. I invite you to put your phones on worship mode, silencing them, or maybe even putting them on airplane mode, so that they don't interfere with technology, and also so that you can be fully present to the good friends that you are here with us. Together, whether we're in the building or online, we create a multi-generational, beloved worshiping community. I'm so glad you're here.
Good morning. I'm Angela Warren, your Director of Faith Development. My pronouns are she, her, or he. We begin our time together by lighting the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Our chalice lighting words this morning come from Louis von Leer. We light this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention. It's been said that Unitarian Universalism is the religion that puts its faith in you, trusting each individual to engage in a spiritual journey and to reach your own conclusions about spiritual matters. And we do that in beloved community as we support one another in faith and in friendship. In that spirit, this congregation has created a covenant, a sacred promise of how we will strive to be with one another. Please join me in speaking our covenant. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. As we gather, we acknowledge that our church is built on occupied land that once belonged to the First Nations people of this region, the Haudenosaunee, and the people known as the Neutrals before them. May we be good stewards of the land and courageously cultivate community with all living things. Each of us carries with us into this worship space cares and concerns, joys and sorrows. Perhaps there is someone on your heart. Together we create the container where we can put down our burdens, knowing they are held gently by this gathered community. No matter how small we are in the chapel, we know you're out there online too. For those in the chapel, I invite you to come forward and place a stone or shell on the table labyrinth as a symbol of putting your burden down. For those worshiping at home, you might speak the names and concerns, or perhaps type them into the chat in the live stream on YouTube. Now is the time to bring your whole self to the circle of love.
last full Sunday off was August 29th. Including Christmas services, I have been in the pulpit for 20 consecutive services, including today. I have been very grateful for the services when we had guest speakers or musicians who helped carry a portion of the time. And I'm really tired. And my voice betrays what I usually am able to cover up. I'm fine. Unitarian Universalists are a little different from other traditions. Well, a lot different in a myriad of ways. But in their expectations of clergy, we are significantly different. UU congregations encourage their clergy to take off one Sunday each month. That does not have anything to do with sleeping in or going to brunch with friends. Who has time for friends? UU congregations support a monthly Sunday off for two main reasons: to give the minister the mental energy to work on other church issues and priorities during the time that would normally go to creating a sermon and service, and to open the pulpit to more voices. UUs value the spoken word, and we affirm the free pew and the free pulpit. Ministers are encouraged to speak their own truth, and congregants, all y'all, and guest speakers are encouraged to bring new insights, whether that is topical or simply based on personal experience. So basically, my presence in the pulpit from September through December has denied you the opportunity to hear from others. I apologize. I will do better. It's one of the reasons that I'm taking some sabbatical leave from May through August this year. I love you all. I love this work, and I'm tired. The effect of nearly 2 years of pandemic church, pivoting and recreating at every turn, and my own personal loss of both of my parents at the same time, along with becoming grandparents to twins. Why did I not think to include a picture of them? I regret that. I'll fix that some coming Sunday as well. It'll be like time for him, and it'll just be cute babies up there. And, all of this stuff has had an effect. Over the course of the next few months, I will be working with a sabbatical team to plan the services in my absence. I'm also delighted to share that the board has approved a month's leave with pay for our Director of Faith Development, Angela. Angela and I have created a whole new paradigm of faith development for all here at UU Amherst, and I recognize that in my absence, folks are going to turn to her for greater support. I love that about our shared ministry, and I'm so glad that she will have the opportunity to take some time away from mid-February to mid-March. You see, although ministers have certain benefits written into our contracts, our letters of agreement, our letters of call, religious educators are rarely afforded these same benefits. One of the things that I truly love about our congregation is that from the very beginning, this church has been the outliers. Think about it. In 1954, when the Buffalo Unitarians and Universalists joined forces 7 years before the national organizations would attempt to merge, they sold one of their buildings to have the funds to start a new ministry in the wilds of Amherst. The Buffalo Church on Elmwood Avenue, Elmwood Village, became the flagship church, and the UU Church of Amherst took on the role of daughter church. A little rebellious, but oh so groovy. All these years later, we are still an experimental church, the ones who are not afraid to reinvent what it means to be a faith community. We have this amazing sanctuary, which we call our chapel. It's a truly indoor-outdoor experience, and I fully endorse. It does not hurt my feelings if you're looking out the windows. There's a lot to see. I saw a coyote out back this morning. Oh, there's a lot of wildlife, lots to see. Take advantage of it. This is This is magnificent. This is special. It's true, Main Street has been built up over the last 60 years all around us, but we maintain our little haven of the church in the woods. What is so natural for us, faith development for all, is not at all what happens in most UU congregations. Angela and I function as partners in ministry, sharing a multi-generational ministry that has as its foundation the affirmation, everything for everyone. Angela and I do that together. And yet I am a full-time minister with all the benefits that includes, and she is a part-time religious educator. Have any of y'all had the experience of being a salaried part-time employee? Then you know, and I know from previous experience, that there's a huge chasm between being paid for 20 or so hours and the amount of time the job actually takes. Now imagine that what started as a job that only focused on children and families blossomed into a ministry for everyone. Imagine receiving calls and emails at all times of day and night, days when you have office hours and days when you're off. The magic of the internet means that we are all on call 24/7. If we open our email, we're on call. There are no boundaries around when we are in our workplace and when we are not. Add to that a worldwide pandemic and a small, groovy church's need to create webs of connection and opportunities for spiritual growth. That gives you a sense of the bigger picture. I know that you know that Angela knows that she works way more than 20 hours, right? You all see how the two of us create meaningful worship and opportunities for engagement. What you might not see is just how much we depend on one another and support one another, and we minister together. If there are any Christmas wishes left, which it's only January 2nd, so there might still be some twinkle dust somewhere for a Christmas wish, I wish that we can make the position of Director of Faith Development a full-time one, recognizing its importance and its scope that includes children and families and reaches so far beyond that. One of the things that makes UU Amherst unique and so strong in these uncertain times is the shared ministry that we offer. When it comes time to make pledges of financial support to the ongoing ministry of our beloved congregation, I will hope that you take my words to heart and maybe create a little Christmas miracle. So here we are, a little crispy around the edges. Voice is very crispy, very low. I'm going to sit in a different place in the choir when we get back. Yet we are so blessed to be here, to share this time together in our various spaces. Those of you participating from home, although I don't see you, I feel your presence. Our gathering would not be the same without you. I invite you, whether you're in the chapel or watching online, to settle back, take a few deep breaths, and prepare to receive a blessing in the lilting Irish tones of the late John O'Donoghue.
When the rhythm of the heart becomes hectic, time takes on the strain until it breaks. Then all the unattended stress falls in on the mind like an endless, increasing weight. The light in the mind becomes dim. Things you could take in your stride before now become laborsome events of will. Weariness invades your spirit. Gravity begins falling inside you, dragging down every bone. The tide you never valued has gone out, and you are marooned on unsure ground. Something within you has closed down, and you cannot push yourself back to life. You have been forced to enter empty time. The desire that drove you has relinquished. There is nothing else to do now but rest. and patiently learn to receive the self you have forsaken for the race of days. At first, your thinking will darken, and sadness take over like listless water. The flow of unwept tears will frighten you. You have traveled too fast over false ground. Now, your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses. Open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the wave of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can claim you. Be excessively gentle with yourself. Stay clear of those vexed in spirit. Learn to linger around for someone of ease who feels they have all the time in the world. Gradually, you will return to yourself, having learned a new respect for your heart and the joy that dwells far within slow time.
January 2nd, 2022. I read recently that the 1973 futuristic film Soylent Green took place in 2022, that far-off future date. I think we have been forewarned. So I wonder how many of you made New Year's resolutions this week. I noticed when I went shopping that exercise gear and books about getting more done, losing weight, and generally remaking ourselves were prominently displayed. Moving a little bit on autopilot, I reached for yet another book that promised the perfect eating plan to realize my unrealistic expectations for how much I should weigh and how clean my food should be. Thankfully, I have been listening to books about the cultish behaviors and tactics of American civil religion, and particularly about the multi-trillion-dollar wellness industry. So I did not pick up and purchase that book, but I was perilously close to doing so. Of course, seeking health and wellness for ourselves is not evil. It's the assumptions beneath our seeking where evil can be found. I suggest that we have all been brainwashed into believing that there is something fundamentally wrong with us. I use the language of brainwashing thoughtfully. It must start awfully young for us to internalize it so completely. But imagine how boring our New Year's resolutions would be if we didn't think we needed to fix ourselves. This year, I will try to fit in a few more naps and sunsets. Oh, boring. Who's going to make money on resolutions like that? When we believe that there is something fundamentally wrong with us, we are so easily swayed to try to correct those perceived flaws. I'm not saying you're perfect. Oh, I'm sorry, is that news? But none of us are. We are all works in progress. We arrive to this life with inherent worth and dignity, but what we do with those gifts is up to us. I wonder how much you have been assimilated into American civil religion, how much brainwashing you've knit into the fabric of your life. The widely accepted ritual of making, and yes, breaking, New Year's resolutions is just one manifestation. Of course we make resolutions. If we don't have goals, we won't get anything done. Idle hands are the devil's tools. Goals. They drive us to want to do and be better, don't they? I'm not very good at goals. Having goals is such an ingrained expectation that it gets me into trouble, that I just don't work that way. I remember interviewing for a clerical job, and as part of the interview, being asked where I saw myself in 5 years. I looked around the office and the offered salary, and I thought to myself, certainly not here. I did not say that out loud, just to be clear. None of the goals that I have set for myself have ever been attained, ever. I do not weigh the unrealistic number that I have tortured myself to try to achieve. I never made it to Broadway, except as a spectator. My net worth does not include more than 1 comma. I don't do goals. I prefer to have my life unfold, and that is not as random as it may sound, because I do like to plan things. I never made it to Broadway, but I did study theater, trained as an actor and director, had the opportunity to be a professional puppeteer, and helped others find and listen to their authentic voices in community theater. I never got rich, but my life has been so full and so rich as I let it unfold. When I came here in 2015 as a developmental minister, I sidestepped the goal-making part. As part of the contract, the Board of Trustees and I were meant to create goals, objective, measurable goals. I think the board at the time was exhausted after 2 previous transition ministries, so they went along with my very squishy goal of working together to build trust and to love each other. And then we spent a year discovering the power of that, the power of creating covenant together. And we created a covenant that we still use it in worship, and it still fits. It's still aspirational. Then, the next year, we did not, there's no checklist, there's no, okay, goal achieved, bing. The following year, we were like, we probably need a mission of some description. Huh? And that unfolded. And over the course, it took a whole church year, but we created a mission statement that has been guiding our decisions ever since. No checklist, except maybe in hindsight. You can kind of look back and go, oh, yes, we did those things. Unfolding. I know I drive some of you nuts with my inability to make sensible goals. Maybe it's an allergic reaction, much like those of you who get the willies whenever I use God language. So we're even. We trust each other, we love each other, and our life together is unfolding. I invite you into a meditation. This meditation is a reading by Reverend Gretchen Haley, accompanied to music from Reverend Christopher Watkins Lamb. And it's just really pay attention. Okay.
Give up the fight for some other moment, some other life than here and now.
I'm just gonna breathe.
Give up the longing for some other world, the wishing for other choices to make, other songs to sing, other bodies, other ages, other countries, other stakes.
Till I touch the sorrow neath the rage. I'm just gonna breathe.
Purge the past. Forgive the future, for each comes too soon. Surrender only to this life, this one, this moment here and now. Surrender only to this day, this hour, this breath. Not because it does not constantly break your heart, but because it too beckons with beauty, startles with delight. If only we can keep waking up to this gift. This is the gift we have been given. These body clothes. This heartbreak, it's ours. This pulse, it's ours. This breath. light,
this life.
these
I'm
friends,
just gonna breathe.
this hope. All we can do is remember ourselves here.
I'm just gonna breathe.
All a part of it all.
Till
Still growing
natural, just
together.
smile. I'm just gonna breathe. Until I'm glad to breathe here for a while. We'll give up the thought for some other love. Just hope in the way that you are living. We'll give up the thought for some other love. It's changing, no longer resisting. Come on and breathe, breathe, breathe. Come on and breathe, breathe, breathe. It's gonna breathe, breathe, breathe. Come on and breathe, breathe, breathe. Give up the fight, breathe, breathe. For some other life, breathe, breathe. Give up the fight, breathe, breathe. For some other life, breathe, breathe. I'm just gonna breathe.
You are loved. Contrary to all the messages you get from social media, magazines, advertisements, and even well-meaning family and friends, you are enough. You don't even have to make a New Year's resolution. Well, maybe just one. The only one you will ever need. Slow down and live your life. I read an article a few weeks ago about how people, and by people I mean Americans in particular, think leisure is a waste of time. The author of the article, Selin Malcock, wrote about taking her American husband to Turkey. She writes, "As we walked onto a beautiful beach on the Aegean coast, he grumbled, 'Well, what are we going to do?' 'What do you mean? Lie down. Enjoy the sun and the sea.' 'Well, what about things to do? Beach volleyball, frisbees, water sports?' 'There isn't any of that. We're just here to relax.'" She writes that underlying each catchphrase like YOLO, you only live once, rise and grind, and the rise of hustle culture is the belief that resting or relaxing is a waste of time. Although you might fondly remember dancing the hustle in the mid-1970s, hustle culture is anything but fun. There's a DoorDash commercial that I have to mute every time it comes on. It begins with, "Good things come to those who work." And then with the images, the message is clear. Don't waste your time riding a skateboard when you could be hustling groceries so you can make money and buy yourself a better skateboard. I realize we're not probably all skateboarders here, but you get the image. I recognize hustle culture because I've lived it. Simultaneously taking a full load of seminary classes, teaching 5 different classes at Jamestown Community College, driving to Buffalo every other day to fulfill my internship at the Buffalo Church, while being a mom to a teenager, wife to a theater technician who worked an hour from home, and managing to still hold on to a vocal studio, made me a full-on member of hustle culture. I might have even been the honorary president. As an adjunct instructor, voice teacher, and director of community theater, I juggled what we call the gig economy for just short of 20 years. Maybe that is why I feel so strongly about slowing down and creating spaciousness in my life now. I love those words, spaciousness. Unencumbered time. What John O'Donohue called empty time. If I were a person who could make and meet goals, those would be my goals. Create spaciousness. The only resolution you need to make is to slow down and live your life. We have been sold a lie, brainwashed from the time we were just littles to participate in the myth of progress. In fact, it is much, much, much older than any of us. In 1611, Father Pierre Biard, a French missionary assigned to colonial Canada, wrote home to complain about the locals. Apparently, the indigenous Micmac didn't think much of what they'd seen of European civilization. He writes, "They consider themselves better than the French." I just did not succumb to my cheesy French accent that wanted to come through so badly. I deserve a little pat on the back. Okay, now I'll tell you what he did, but you just need to know that inside I'm like, ho, ho, ho. I could do it in a cheesy French accent. Okay, they consider themselves better than the French. They say, "You are always fighting and quarreling among yourselves. We live peaceably. You are envious and are all the time slandering each other. You are covetous and are neither generous nor kind. As for us, if we have a morsel of bread, we share it with our neighbor." They are saying these things and like things continually. Thus begins an article and a book review by Jared Spears in the newest issue of Yes magazine. The book under review is The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wengrow, which is my next read on Audible, so I'll let you know in a subsequent sermon. It is the tale of what happens when a culture that has absorbed the myth of progress encounters an indigenous culture based in spaciousness. Those are my words, not Spears. Valuing unencumbered time is countercultural. It's just the kind of thing a church of groovy outliers would embrace. Thank goodness we found one another.
We'll close today with a reading from Mark Nepo's book, The Book of Awakening. It's the entry for December 31st, entitled, I See You. For centuries, African Bushmen have created each other in this way. When the one becomes aware of his brother or sister coming out of the brush, he exclaims, I see you. And then the one approaching rejoices, I am here. This timeless bearing witness is both simple and profound, and it is telling that much of our therapeutic journey is suffered to this end, to have who we are and where we've been be seen. For with this simple and direct affirmation, it is possible to claim our own presence and say, I am here. Those people in our lives who have validated our personhood by seeing us and exclaiming so are the foundations of our self-worth. Think of who they are. For me, the first to rejoice at my scrambling into the open was my grandmother. If not for her unequivocal love, I might never have had the courage to express myself at all. And after all, isn't art in all its forms the beautiful trail of our all too human attempts to say again and again, I am here. It is important to note that being seen enables us to claim our lives, and then it becomes possible to pass the gift on to others. But just as important as bearing witness is the joy with which these Bushmen proclaim what they see. It is the joy of first seeing and first knowing, and this is the gift of love. In a culture that erases its humanity, that keeps the act of innocence and beginning invisible, we are sorely in need of being seen with joy, so we can proclaim with equal astonishment and innocence that of all the amazing things that could have been or not, we are here. As far back as we can remember, people of the oldest tribes, unencumbered by civilization, have been rejoicing in being on earth together. Not only can we do this for each, it is essential. For as stars need open space to be seen, as waves need shore to crest, as dew needs grass to soak into, our vitality depends on how we exclaim and rejoice, I see you, I am here. I see you, and I am here, and we are loved and loving.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
We have so much fun when we record our music together. Adam is such a delight, and yeah, it's probably not legal for us to have the amount of fun that we do, just singing and dancing. Thank you for joining us in worship today. I hope you have been inspired and uplifted by sharing this time together. I have a little New Year's present for you. It's a piece of paper. Thanks, Michelle. That you can pick up in the lobby. On the one side is a sigil for the coming year. So there is a blogster on Patheos Pagan who each year in community creates symbols for health and compassion, and then they make it all into a single image, a sigil, to just affirm what goodness we want to bring into the world, that we want to both receive and be able to put out to the world. So these, and the little information on the back, so when you get home and think, why did I pick this up? You'll be able to see. For those of you online, I will be sending it out via all church email so that you will also be able to have it. It's just kind of a nice, yummy thing. A reminder that you can support the work and mission of this congregation with a financial gift, and there are baskets in the back. I see Mickey back there just waiting, and I hope that you will have a wonderful week and that none of you lose your voices. Let's extinguish our chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I'm going to suggest, rather than having you all try to sing as low as I am today, that we just speak the words of Travel Light together. Travel light and travel easy till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember, I'm your friend. We do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be swift to love and make haste to be kind. Go in peace.